since it's the most wonderful time of the year, I decided to do some more horror-themed videos for you guys. And yeah, as you can see right here, this time around, this Legends of Evil segment will be centered around Michael Myers. Now, Michael is a very interesting character because, of course, you're probably wondering, are you going to talk about the original or the remakes? And I'm actually going to be talking about the original film franchise of Michael. The reason why I'm not going to talk about the remake is because, well, Halloween 1 is decent, but I didn't like the story they went with, and the second film is just complete, I don't even know. Not to say, the last few films of the Halloween franchise were good. Halloween Resurrection can get the fuck out. But Halloween, the Rob Zombie remakes, and I like Rob Zombie. I really dig his horror films. Devil's Rejects is completely awesome, and House of a Thousand Corpses as well. I just feel like it just didn't roll with me. If anyone out there liked the Rob Zombie films, that's totally fine. No ill will against you. I personally just didn't gel with them. And again, I fully acknowledge that the last few films of the Halloween franchise were in no form a masterpiece of horror. Again, Halloween Resurrection can get the fuck out. H20, it has its moments. But yeah. Oh god. Anyway, so let's talk about Michael Myers. Let's talk about Michael Myers and, his whole deal. The thing about him, though, is that there is no real deal. And this is what I really like about the original of Michael Myers, is the original Halloween films. The thing, going back to the very first film, the dude just snapped. The dude, just 6 years old, he just took a knife, and brutally killed his elder sister out of just pure malice. That was it. There was no real reason for it. And I liked it, because it looked like, Halloween had in the Halloween series in Haddonfield, it was a very suburban town, and just out of nowhere, he just snaps. And that's what I kind of didn't like about the remake, where it said that, he came out from this very abusive home, very dysfunctional family. I was like, okay, we're doing this whole shit again. But in the original film, it wasn't really touched on, but it was just really that Michael just snapped. He was in a good home, and he just lost his shit for no reason. And I kind of like, and let me explain why I kind of like that more, is because sometimes people can just snap on that. I just really like the idea, and this goes back to why I like the horror film The Strangers so much, is because sometimes, and actually, the better quote would be, sometimes some men just want to watch the world burn, as Alfred stated in The Dark Knight. And that's kind of that's what really scared me about Michael. That the fact that this guy who seemed like he had his shit together, just 6 years old, just turned on his sister for the best reason is his sister didn't take him trick-or-treating, and his response was, I'm going to put a knife through your face. And yeah, what we have here is a character that is just this unstoppable machine who is just evil for the sake of evil. There's no backstory to it. There's no reason for it. And yet, he's this unstoppable force who will just kill everything in sight. And that's what I really dug about this. And, as again, Dr. Loomis said, he just realized one day when he was trying to help him, he just realized one day, it was like, this kid is a monster. There is no reason for it. He is just a monster. And I like it. I really dug that. I really did dig that. Can't talk today. I can't talk apparently. It was just yeah. It's just kind of, it's so scary that, there was no backstory for it. There was no, oh, he drowned in a lake, or oh, he had a dysfunctional family, or oh, he was just born wrong. No, he just did that. So I think I've spent enough time talking about, the lack thereof, and probably unneeded, Michael Myers' origin. But really, throughout the film, we follow him hunting down Laurie Strode, and it's not until the second film that we find out why. It turns out Laurie is his younger sister. His baby sister that was kept from him. Now, the thing with Michael is that we didn't know why he was hunting Laurie. In the first film, we didn't know why. And that was kind of the creepy thing about the original film, was that in the original John Carpenter film, was that it was this just guy in a mask, this guy in a bleached out William Shatner mask, mind you. Yeah, that's a scary thought. William Shatner coming to kill you. It's both hilarious and terrifying. But yeah, all we knew is that this one guy, no reason at all, was just hunting Laurie, and it wasn't until the second film that we found out why. We also get Dr. Loomis, who in here was... You could argue that Loomis and Laurie are probably some of the best two hero characters in horror films. And I really like that, because with Laurie, you had this very proactive girl who wasn't going to be a victim, but at the same time, she was scared out of her fucking mind. And then you had Loomis, who knew the evil that Michael could do, and tried his best to stop him from that. Now, Michael, much like Jason, is just this unstoppable tank, really. But in the original film, it was just kind of treated that he was this ordinary man. He was just kind of treated like that, and it wasn't until, like, I guess you could say in the fourth film, I guess you could say, that they were just kind of like, yeah, he's just kind of born with this kind of evil inside of him that keeps him alive. That's kind of what it is. That's what we got here. And I thought that was an interesting way to go, but at the same time, I liked it because Michael was just an ordinary guy, but nope, they had to make him like Jason. Kind of like what... And there are some good films. I actually kind of like The Return of Michael Myers. It does try to, put together some extra pieces there, and there are some good moments in there. Revenge of Michael Myers, Curse of Michael Myers, blech. H20, good, has its moments. And again, Resurrection's at the bottom of the barrel. Anyway, so Michael, throughout the film, and this is what I kind of think with the Halloween franchise, is that originally, for those who don't know, originally, and I actually know, probably a lot of you guys probably know at this point, was that initially Halloween was supposed to be a whole franchise. That's why in Halloween 3, we got Season of the Witch, and it had nothing to do with Michael, and then the fourth film, they had to do the whole Return of Michael Myers thing, because, yeah, Halloween was supposed to be an anthology. However, back then, before we had the internet, people didn't realize that this was meant to be an anthology, and it didn't really have much to do with Michael. And that probably wasn't a good idea to do two films centered on Michael and then suddenly change, instead of just saying, yeah, the Halloween film on its own, that's it. If they didn't do Halloween 2, I feel like people would have gotten it more, instead of continuing Michael's story from the second film. I feel like if you just went to another film in Halloween 2, if you just went with a different story instead of going with Michael, then I think people would have gotten it. But instead, they went with continuing Michael's story, and that's why people got so confused, rather than realizing, oh, it's supposed to be an anthology. Yeah. Season of the Witch, I don't talk about that, but Season of the Witch, it's not great, in my opinion, but it does have its moments, especially that ending. That ending just freaked me out the first time I saw it. Anyway. But with Michael, he is this just unstoppable force that can keep going no matter what you do. Again, it's much like Jason, but unlike Jason, Michael in some way is just human. He is still somewhat human, there's still a bit of humanity inside of him, and it still kind of lurks its way out of him. And they do kind of say that this evil that he has inside of him is the reason why he went on a killing spree, but they don't really go into it, and I kind of wish they just didn't do that. But still, Michael technically speaking, Norman Bates is what you could call the first slasher. Norman Bates from Psycho. But when you think about it, Halloween and Michael Myers in general is the character that really, you could say, kicked off everything. That was the one that really Halloween really was the one who wrote the book on how to do slasher films. That one really wrote the book on it, at least for me. That's how I feel like how it was. You could say Psycho. Psycho really was the godfather at all, but Halloween was the one who wrote the book on how to do slashers. Same with the first Friday the 13th film. It was you could say, it's kind of like with heavy metal, with the rebirth of metal, where you had, the founding fathers of the rebirth of metal after glam rock was Metallica, Anthrax, Megadeth, and Slayer. But now I'm going off on a tangent. But yeah, because there's really nothing else I can say about Michael other than he's an awesome slasher. You know, one of my favorite movie characters to see, you know, go out and brutally kill people silently. Anyway, so you guys tell me, what do you guys think of Michael Myers? You guys like it? Do you guys like him? Do you guys hate him? Excuse me. Just comment below, let me know, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.